I hung out with Antoine from High Desert Pythons this week. You know who I'm talking about. You can't help but have a good time when you're hanging out with Antoine. It's all right here. Stick around. What's happening, everybody? It's Adam from Proper Royals. Thank you for joining me here today. If we've not met before, this channel's all about my family's journey from ball python hobby to ball python business. I document everything right here as transparently as I can. I mean, we get into financials, business side, marketing, brand building, the community, all of it. We cover it all right here. Check out the Linktree link below. That'll get you to all of our socials and everything that we have going on. We got traditional content that we put out every week, and then we do a live show every Tuesday nights, Proper Royals Live. Check it out. Hope you'll consider subscribing and hanging out with us in the future. You know, I talk to a lot of people in this hobby, and I'm always recruiting guests for my live shows, and the schedules don't always work out. We just have lives to live, and there's only 7 days in the week. And sometimes things just don't work. What I got to do this week, this was one of those occasions where Antoine and I from High Desert Pythons, we've been talking for a long time, and the schedules never work out. Man, that guy does as much or more than I do, man. And I say that with sincere respect, not building myself up. And the fact of the matter is I'm a workaholic, and I stay busy. I got a lot going on. So does Antoine. What we ended up doing was instead of the live show, we picked a time together where we could hang out. This is going to be kind of a podcast type episode versus some of my usual typical YouTube videos. We talk about brand building, getting your name out there, brand exposure. We talk about his Patreon experience. I learned a lot. I've had mixed emotions on Patreon before. I'm intrigued by his model. And then, of course, man, we just hang out and have fun as snake breeders and owners and members of this community. You can't not have a good time hanging out with Antoine. I do want to mention today's episode, I would rate probably a PG-13. Normally, I keep this channel pretty clean when it comes to language and certainly content. Antoine and I, we got a little casual in today's episode. Just a heads up if you're watching with your family. The content is all still on brand and ball python and reptile related. Check it out. Let's get down to business. Let's get down to the show. I think you'll enjoy it. We are live. So I usually do these live shows with an audience or the live chat, but the schedules didn't work out. But Antoine was cool enough to say, you know what, we could record another episode on a time that does work. And I said, man, you say you're coming on, I make it happen. That works for me. So Antoine, thank you for being here, man. You're
man, I appreciate you having me, man. Sorry for being such a diva about not doing it live.
Hey, you know, it goes both ways, because actually I'll just pull the curtain back a little bit. While we were talking on Instagram just this afternoon, you said, well, hey, do you have the link for the live? I said, no, this one isn't going to be live. I only do lives on Tuesday nights. It's a different night. So it goes both ways.
Yeah, Tuesdays is weird because those are usually days I teach Muay Thai, Jiu-Jitsu, whatever. So Tuesdays and Thursdays is usually my main days. So I was caught up there, and a guy that I had like helping me out of teaching, I kind of let him go, whatever, because he had some punctuality and attendance issues. We'll just say that. So
I get it, man. I ran restaurants for 25 years. I know all about that. So, well, when we were cooking up kind of what we talk about, you said you get a lot of questions about branding, marketing, and exposure, and we thought that'd be a good topic for the whole show. So, I mean, that's not just one question, but so that's what we'll cover today for the audience that is watching. I think most people know you, but if not, why don't you take a second and introduce yourself? Tell us about yourself. Speaking of marketing and branding.
Antoine Hood, owner, High Desert Pythons. I've been keeping ball pythons since 2005. And this year is the 10-year anniversary of me doing it like commercially, professionally, for profit. So it's been 10 years. And I would say the past 2.5 years, I've decided to kind of take my brand into marketing to the next level and modeling this career after how I have my MMA fighters do. So once I stopped stepping away from like the fighter management aspect of it and seeing seeing what I use to push their career to get their face out there. I decided to just use that for myself, and it actually turned out well. So,
Man, that's really cool. So I'm a professional musician, not for my career, or I want to make it my career. If or if it's a revenue stream, that's cool. But what you were saying about that, in my professional career running hospitality for resorts and destinations, really what I started on YouTube for was to enjoy myself with the ball pythons, but it also was to make a point for the company I was working for that billboards and print marketing, you may as well just be lighting your money on fire. And they all rolled their eyes at me. And so to hear you say, how your fighters get their name out there and how they build their own personal brands, and you're applying that to ball pythons, I feel like I had a similar motivation. And then I would look at what bands do. This same kind of thing. Like you don't need a record contract anymore. You could get your music out there. You gotta be able to perform and get gigs and venues. But so that's cool. So now, you said that was about 2 years ago. I know you've been on Instagram about 5. So what changed from 5 years ago to 2 years ago? What was what were some of the decisions you made to be different?
It was the pandemic. I got to sit around and see that there's a lot of industries that were kind of going down in the dumps, and the MMA industry, for one, for gyms and things like that, was I had a building down the road from me. And, once coronavirus popped up, no one really didn't have all the information about it. So you living in California, a lot of people elected to stay home.
Right.
So that was a huge cut for me as far as financials. And I had a lot of extra spare time at that point now, because we got, even like on my day job, we were in every other week. It'd be like separate shifts, so we won't have like contact with each other. And just watching the ball python industry, I was like, man, people are still making stuff, and people are still using their stimulus checks to buy snakes instead of like replacing the wheels on their cars and stuff like that too. So I was like, you know what? To me, out of all the industries and subcultures I'm a part of, this is the only one that's actually seems to be getting better. So I said, okay, I think it's time for me to start investing in some higher end projects. You know what I mean? There's a lot of stuff I skipped that I shouldn't have, like years ago, like Desert Ghost, and I got into clown projects late and things like that. So I decided, I was like, you know what? I need to start spending money to get into bigger projects to make this a profitable business. But at the same time, I need to look at it from a customer point of view too. When I go through Morph Market and I'm looking at projects, when I see Joe Schmo, nobody, who sells an animal for $3,000 versus a guy who's been around for a while selling that same animal for $1,500 more, I'm going to spend more money on a guy that I trust, vice the guy that I don't. You know what I mean? Because he has a rating and a reputation that people know him. So I decided that instead of being a person now that had a bunch of amazing projects and a whole bunch of eye candy online that people wanted to buy, I wanted to get myself out there first. And what I did is, I just got on Instagram and spent more time on IG than I did Facebook. Jumped on people's lives and asked questions, and just participated in a lot of stuff, and started, put myself out there as a whole in the reptile community. And because I wanted to gain people's trust. So when I started investing in those projects, I got to the point where now it's time to start breeding this stuff. I wanted to make sure people had a warm fuzzy that they know who I was, and if something happened, you know what I mean? Like, they can come to me and fix things, and you know what I mean? They just have that extra sense of security behind him, and that's what I wanted to make sure I did with my brand and my product.
Now, let me interrupt for a second. Were you an entrepreneur before ball pythons, or had you built businesses before ball python?
I started opening up my MMA gym in 2012.
Oh, I lost you, Antoine. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, cool. All right. We got our first edit point 7 minutes in. So
there we go. But I asked that because I've started to notice that people that have started one business, even if it has nothing to do with reptiles or retail or even customer service, you're going to learn something from that first go round of the bumps. Even if it's just learning how to take the bumps, you're going to know some more about it. So did you find that from having gone through that, opening your own gym and your own business, that you had a little less fear of pursuing this?
Yeah, I had a little less fear, but I was also aware of the growing pains that was going to happen along the way too, because when I opened my own gym, I also wasn't the most established person in the area as far as like martial arts credentials and putting fighters out there. So it was a slow process where actually when I started my gym, I took no loan money. I took no investor money. It was just little by little having a bunch of people who believed in me and using that money to get a building and just expanding from there. So I went from going to like a one-car garage to a 10,000 square foot building because, you know, it was a gradual growth, but it made sense for me. And I took the same approach with the ball pythons. I didn't go crazy right away. I regret not going a little crazy.
Yeah. But you highlight, and so this is my opinion that may not be exactly what you're voicing. I don't want to put words in your mouth. I got through college with no debt. I worked in restaurants. I'm guessing if you started in a one-car garage and built up to 10, I was going to ask you, do you remain debt-free on your business?
Oh, yeah. So I was fine up until I had that little hiccup during the pandemic when
I gotcha.
My landlord still wanted me to pay, even though I didn't have any customers in there. So for 6 or 7 months until my lease was up, I had to come out of my pocket and still pay the bills there.
Right.
But then at the end of the lease, I just elected not to renew, and he was still mad about that for some reason. I'm like, dude, you can't have it both ways.
No, yeah, you don't get it both ways, man. Yeah, exactly. But
yeah, so I was playing a little catch up this year from that, just kind of putting that money back in. So that kind of slowed me down on some projects. But man, this season though, I spent more on ball pythons in 2022. We're only 7 months in than I spent in the past 5 years on ball pythons.
That's true for me too. I didn't plan it that way, but that is true for me. But what I was going to keep going with though, I agree with you on sort of the steady build. Sure, looking back, maybe there's something we wish we could have more. But I won't name any names, obviously, and no, personal relationship stuff. But I talked to somebody who they said, they spent about $30,000 on 2 snakes. And I said, wow, I've taken a different path, man. This year I will have paid myself everything, every penny I've ever put into ball pythons. I will be back in the black this year, and everything going forward will be perfectly, cash flow driven. I can't say perfectly profit because I'm always going to have expenses. And I felt bad because he kind of looked at me and paused like he had never even thought that was a possibility. And I said, man, it's only my second year of breeding. I could wait 2 breeding seasons to have my feet under me rather than going, man, am I going to get my 30 grand back? And what happens if the first bad egg you get, or the first female that doesn't go, or, all those things that happen to us as we're growing. So sorry, I've taken you off on different paths. I didn't mean to do that. So 2 years ago, you focused more on the models that you saw your MMA fighters doing. It's COVID, and we just hear you're taking money out of your own pocket to pay your other business, and you're trying to build your ball pythons at the same time.
It was just crazy, but I found some kind of cool ways to circumvent like the bills I had to along the way. So I feed live, right? I get rats delivered every Sunday, and my bill every week is close to like, I would say about $550 to $600 a week on rats too.
Really?
So what I did locally is there are no pet stores in this town. They don't exist like at all. Like in the past 12 years I've been here, I've seen like 4 or 5 pet stores just come and go because it was just people who liked animals but had no business sense,
Right. I see it in restaurants all the time. Oh, people love waffles. I'll open a restaurant. It ain't the same. Yeah.
So what I did is I created a local Facebook group that provided live feeders for people in town. So when I got my feeders in, I make a post, hey, I'm placing the order for Sunday. You can pick up between this time and this time. And I gave them like pet store prices, Yeah. So people are paying $350 for smalls, which is fine because if you have 2 or 3 snakes, that's no big deal.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
But I got 80 breeder females here. So so that cuts my bill down from almost, like I said, to $550 to $600 a week to like $275 a week or something like that
cool.
too.
Yeah.
So that helped out a lot. And then last May, I started my Patreon, and I got about 40 strong members right now. And that's been like a steady, increase in revenue as well. So that between doing that and the Patreon page, all of my little small expenses are kind of, I wouldn't say ridiculously profited, but I'm almost like net neutral as far as like all the outside expenses too. So that helped out a whole lot.
Yeah. No, and it's huge. And as we grow, like I only have 50 animals right now. So I'm just, and I got 37 eggs in there. So, I mean, that's about to go up significantly. But I kind of say it tongue in cheek on the live stream every week, but I do YouTube to advertise my brand, and I'm sure we'll land back on that topic. But any of the sponsorship revenue, any of the ad revenue, that all goes to feeding, the animals and keeping the lights on, and it allowed, all those little things add up. Every one of those little expenses, you just got to tick off along the way to, like you say, to get to expense neutral and then hopefully stay profitable throughout the rest of the year.
Yeah, because with YouTube, I never intended to have the YouTube channel be something where I'm getting rich off of that. To me, YouTube was it's just a big commercial for my brand.
Right. Right. But
now, I got monetized fast. Like from my first video, I got monetized inside of 90 days, like my first 3 months.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, and then we can talk about how I did that too. I did a video on it, but like, cause I want people to kind of take some of the stuff in. I'm sure a lot of people that's going to watch this, like, know the story too, but I'm sure there's a lot that haven't. So it's a way to kind of get people, I want to teach people how to, for lack of a better word, trick fuck the system, So I want to help out a lot of people with that. And I want to, what I did, because some of these methods still work too. So, do you want to go to that real quick, or you want to continue on?
Well, and I think it's great because I'll tell for reference, it took me 14 months to get monetized on YouTube. And in my show prep, looks like you've been on YouTube about 2.5 years, and I'm a little bit over 1.5 years. So I'm about a year behind you, but you've got over three times the subscribers that I do. So yeah, take us through what you saw that worked for you on that.
Well, so I wanted to figure out what my strongest social media platform was at the time. And it was definitely Facebook. So, but Facebook keeps you maxed out at 5,000 friends. So I've had 5,000. So I've had 5,000. And when I say friends, I mean just people that,
then press the button, right?
Yeah. So 5,000 friends on Facebook. And I figured that I might interact. If I interacted with 20% of that or whatever, which was like 1,000 people, I could get that audience and get those people on board. But like hitting the subscribe button and at least going through my playlist and hitting videos and things like that just kind of help to get things going. So I was relentless with it, man. So when I first started my first video, I posted the link on my Facebook. I'm going through people's DMs with the link and doing group chat things and having people like the page too. And then what the biggest thing I did though, any person I met, like any person face to face that I interacted with, I went through their phone, took their phone, went on YouTube and hit the subscribe button. I was like, hey man, you got the YouTube app, right? Everybody has a YouTube app. They're like, sure I do. I was like, hey man, you want to look at my channel real quick? So like, let me see your phone. I go through it. Like, hey, this is what I'm doing, whatever like that. Like, I don't like snakes, nasty. Subscribe anyway. So that first couple of months of like pushing out content, there was not one person that I didn't interact with face to face that I didn't have as a subscriber, but keep in mind that I learned early that those dead subscribers who wasn't viewing any of your content, that kind of hurt the algorithm sometimes more than anything. So if you're just like a dead subscriber and you never interacted with the channel at all, sometimes you kind of just, you go neutral again, So, once I had, I think maybe 10 or 15 videos, and I was doing some lives back then too, because I was doing that to kind of get some watch time in too, because you need 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of watch time.
That's right.
So I started making these playlists, and once I had a nice set of videos, I go back on Facebook again, and I go, hey, who has YouTube Premium? And most people want to poke their chest out because they look down on the poors who don't have YouTube Premium. Yeah. I'll be honest with you, man. If I'm looking at someone's phone and watching the video and the ad pops up, I kind of look at them kind of funny too. So I did like a ton of people like, I got it too. So I take my playlist and I go, hey, would you mind subscribing to my channel and going through my playlist to look, and you can play it in the background. So if you're at work, you're at the office, you know, you can kind of play the whole playlist like that. So I actually do with a lot of my friends. I have in my old Snake Room, I have a smart TV. I have like a PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, couple of tablets too. So sometimes too, just to help out people with new channels, I'll just run the entire playlist in the background.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's not an organic way to do it, obviously. You know, people look down on that, but you know, if your goal is to hurry up and get monetized, you know, that's the thing too, you know. So and because, you know, once you get monetized, you got super chats on lives, and you know, that's when the revenue really starts pouring in. Because I make, you know, way more money off a couple super chats on the live than I will do just like regular views. You know what I'm saying? Like my best video on YouTube is 17,000 views, and I probably made barely $100 off of that video.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I made a note on here. I wanted to go back all the way where you said, you know, your YouTube was just going to be a commercial for your channel, for your brand, and that really was part of why I started too. I said, man, this is kind of neat. I remember my wife going, okay, you're going to breed these snakes, and who's going to buy them? And I was like, well, yeah, okay, I guess I'm going to answer that question. And I took that as like permission, like, hey, I'm cool with you having these snakes. You just better figure out how to sell them. I'm like, I can do that. So, but what I didn't know about YouTube, so, and we should bounce some ideas or the different ways. So we make ad revenue, and to your point, like a great day of like a smoking day of ad revenue for me is about $3 a day. So if I can get $100 a month, I'm doing well on ad revenue. The super chats and on the lives, you're right. I mean, that can be $10 or it can be $100. You never know on that. And I do those lives every week. But what I didn't realize, and that's sort of obvious, but what I didn't realize was people want to come and have their logo on my channel. And I'm like, who am I, man? I got 1,400, subscribers, but people want to reach that really ultra focused audience. And then I started to realize that I keep track of all of this. My sales in the first year, over 50% of my sales came from YouTube viewers. They didn't come through Morph Market. Some did, but not as many. Right. And at that time, even fewer. I really just started focusing on Instagram in January of this year. So really only about 6 months on Instagram. So this year's selling season, I'll have a better feel for which, Instagram, YouTube, Morph Market, or local Facebook groups. Everybody, kind of talks down on Facebook, and I do too. But the local groups on Facebook are pretty solid. I mean, you were talking about that with the rats or the rodents. I got a fair enough. That was my number 2 customer base, was just the local groups. So I didn't realize all the ways to monetize YouTube apart from them if I'm killing it, making my $3 a day, So I was really, really, really surprised to find that for myself. What other ways did you find that you were able to make money on YouTube, or that kind of cover?
Well, so a lot of when I do like my higher end clutch reveal videos, because I kind of scaled down showing everything that hatches, you know what I mean, over time. And I think it's almost been 2 months since I posted an actual video on YouTube. But once I get to the point where I have clutches where I want to push them and sell them, I would say close to 80% of my sales come from my YouTube videos. Gotcha. Where maybe, and then there's a pour over in the Instagram, and then by the time animals actually make it to Morph Market, when they had 4 or 5 meals and they're over 100 grams, so that's usually when I post them, somewhere around there.
Yep.
That's like the leftovers.
Yeah, right. Well, and that's great because, that's like having a wait list or early subscribers. I mean, that's just less work, time, and effort that you got to put in, which means you can put in to other things, whether it's relaxing your other businesses or putting it back into this business. And time is something that's wonderful to be able to put back.
And that was really my main focus on Patreon as well, because, even still with a decade in, I still have imposter syndrome like a lot of people do. When it's like a lot. Like sometimes like when I go to shows and interacting with people and like people I look up to come find me, it was like, yeah, I've been watching you and you're an inspiration. You need to keep going and stuff like that. Dude, I saw Mark Bailey in Tinley and he stopped me and talked to me and was saying all this dope shit about me. Dude, I damn near burst into fucking tears. I mean, I was a little drunk, okay, but
right.
But,
it
I was like, you know, I was like, how the hell does Mark Bailey know who I am? You know what I mean? So,
I think I gotta say, social media and the internet gets such a bad rap, and there's dark parts to it, and you know as well as I do, there's awful people out there. But you probably, I know I have, and it blows my mind. It makes me so humble. I'll have people emailing me like, I have no idea that I was connecting with them. And they'll say, you don't know what a difference you're making. I'm like, no, I don't, but I'll keep doing it, man. And like, when I was at Daytona last year, my son and I were masked up and I had a hat on and I didn't have my, branded chef coat or anything. Guy comes up to me and goes, man, I really love your stuff. And I'm like, I have a mask and a baseball hat on, man. I'm like, this is great, So, yeah, it's social media, and I don't mean that it's great for my ego. I mean, it's great that we can connect with each other. I mean, I'm in Jacksonville, Florida. You're in California, and we're hanging out like two buddies over beers. You know what I mean? And that's amazing. So I always like to take a moment, and I'm like, wait a minute. I know it's easy to get down on the internet, but there's really good stuff out there if we put it.
Yeah, because dude, early on, man, I'll be honest with you, like internet wise, the forums back in the days, like the Kings League forums and the Foreign Classifieds and the Bush League forum, man, I wasn't accepted back then, man. Like it just, I don't know, like who I pissed off back then or the questions I was asking, but for whatever reason, they did not want me around at all, bro.
Yeah, that'd be a whole different show, and not to be a downer or talk bad about people for that purpose. But I've heard my personal experience has been very, very welcoming. The worst that I've really heard is, oh, you don't know what you're doing. Why do you have a YouTube channel? I'm like, if you listen, the first words out of my mouth in every video are, this is my journey from hobby to business. Like if you don't get that means that I'm willing to learn. But that's really the worst of it. And I know YouTube filters has a pretty good content filter as far as what people can say anyhow. But my experience, I got to say, has been really, really overwhelmingly good in my limited time at it.
Well, yeah. So back to the imposter syndrome thing. Like, dude, I watched in real time Justin and Miguel get slammed for their Patreon pages. Like people were coming on my comments when I was like, yeah, it was good to be part of this page. It's like, I wouldn't be part of his if he paid me and blah, 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 blah. Like people just waiting to come into the comments. Just to like, I'm like, you don't like people have a lot of these breeders have a lot to offer, but so little time. So Patreon, yes, it's a paid site because people should be paid for their time and for their effort. You know what I mean? So like, there's people who call me every day who I don't know from Adam or call myself. I don't refer them to my Patreon and go, hey man, I get paid for questions like this. I answer it and stuff like that too. And then if somehow later on they jump on, cool. But that's not what all I'm about. I'm all about helping people, moving people along. But it's a lot, man. There's no way you can be a successful breeder. You could be, you could have like your regular job and you could have a family and then be answering these emails, texts, and calls all day,
Right. No, and certainly not immediately. And I'll tell you two things. The one is that you've always been very gracious to me. And I even, and at the time I wasn't sure if I was annoyed or not. I probably was. But you played a clip from my show and I was like, man, you got 12,000 followers, man. Like, tag my name in it, and you
that was my bad, man. I just hurried up and posted it.
No, you were so gracious because, like, some people when somebody might say something like that might go, who the hell are you? You should be glad that I'm even putting you out. No, you were like, man, sorry, everybody, check this out. This is Adam and Proper Royals, and I was like, hell yeah, all right, that's cool. And then you've always answered my, and I think I've maybe only sent you 5 messages, but we've been trying to line something up for a while. And you know, sometimes you wonder, like, is the schedule response just a nice way of saying no? And no, here we are. You know, it's cool.
Dude, honestly, you know what being a lifetime martial artist taught me is that it's humility. You know what I mean? Because you never know in life who you come across that can help you out, that you can help, that you can have a symbiotic relationship to make things better with, you know? So, you know, there's always somebody out there that's that's better than you, for lack of a better term, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, I hate watching people big time in Hollywood people. It's just so disgusting to me, man. You know?
Isn't it? I see it everywhere, but man, I would see it in music too. Like, I'm not a fighter. I don't have those skills. But in a band setting, if you're playing for yourself, it doesn't matter how good you are. You're going to get, you could be the most ripping guitarist. You're going to get fired. If you're playing for the song, for the show, and for the audience, I've gotten so many gigs just because better musicians go, we can depend on Adam. He's going to come in professional. He's going to rehearse. He's going to be humble. He's going to do his part. And he's going to sell out for the audience and for the show. And like you say, man, when I see people trying to Hollywood each other or go, you know, and 10 years of my career I spent working for the PGA Tour. Like, celebrity doesn't impress me. You know, I see what people do behind the scenes. They're just like us, you know, or worse for that matter.
You know what other I would say industry I took like my business acumen from that a lot of people get surprised when I say is stand-up comedy.
Oh, really? Do you perform or have you in the past?
Oh, no. I'm a big fan of stand-up comedy, but like, to me, that's my biggest fear in the world is to get up there. Like, I can talk to people and like spit out shitty dad jokes, but actually going up on stage and, okay, I'm going to say stuff to make you laugh. Nah. I will. I definitely will. But just there's like two different people I watched over the years. So one is you know, Joe Rogan. Everybody knows who Joe Rogan is too. Sure. But just going down to LA into the comedy store scene and watching how he interacts with like a bunch of up and coming comedians, like everybody from the cocktail waitress to the door person. Right. He always found a way to put them on and to help them shine, and that's what he uses celebrity for, man. So he uses celebrity, he used it for good. And a lot of these people who maybe without his help we still wouldn't know who they are, got that big push because of that too. And I got to see that parallel from Billy's podcast when he first came out, when he had the My Channel, My Content and was doing that. Yeah, he brought on people who maybe had 150 followers and was just interviewing them. And a lot of those people, including myself, took that initial push and freaking ran away with it. Yeah. No, that's huge. And I always say to people, so in the latter part of my restaurant career, I consult now. So I generally am not working in the same restaurant. And usually what I do, the first thing I'll do is I'll go walk over to the dishwasher, see how the dishwasher's treated. And it'll tell you everything you need to know about the restaurant. Because do they value that person? Because it doesn't matter how beautiful your steak is or anything else. If it ain't on a clean plate, it's trash. So exactly. And if people don't value the least glamorous job in the whole place, that makes my job real easy. I know right who to go after at that point, you know. No, that's cool to hear. I mean, it's so good to talk to people and to meet people and see beyond just Instagram posts or comments, man. I love it. I love this, these conversations. So let me ask you this. This is interesting to me. We'll take a little turn here on Patreon. How do you decide what content your Patreon subscribers get versus the mass audience? Or is it more your time and your focus? Do you differentiate the content or the quality, or how do you separate that? So the big part of my Patreon benefits is like people calling me directly, like direct instant access to me. There's a couple of people on there. I'm not going to name them, but if they watch this, they're going to laugh because they know who I'm talking about. They call me or text me every freaking day. Yeah. Hey man, I'm thinking about buying this animal. Is this a good idea? Is this a good example of the morph? And should I invest my money in this project? You know, and then I'll give them my honest opinion. You know what I mean? And and I go, okay, so this is what you have, right? This is what you have now. These are your breeding projects. How do you think this fits in with what you have? Do you want to push this project further, or is it the next shiny thing and you can buy it because you have the money to buy it?
That's right.
Because there's a really fine line between the breeder and the hoarder. It's almost an invisible line, you know. So there's a lot of that in the group. That's probably like the highest tiered people, and like the $50 and $20 people. I mean, all the time. Hey, there's this thing on the belly of my snake. What is this? And how do I identify that? And we're doing like clutch IDs and things like that. So that, and then second, I would say my group chat. So my Instagram group chat between the two higher tiers. I mean, that thing is going off on my phone right now, like going crazy.
Oh,
because we work as a team in there. I figured out that Discord wasn't for me as far as what I needed to do, because I have like maybe between 40 and 50 people at best during the time too. So I think that platform is too big to kind of have it all, you know what I mean, categorized and going through all the stuff where we just boom, post a question, people jump on it. We do it like that. So between Clutch ID, between tips and tricks on how to build your incubator, just the like nitty gritty stuff that a lot of people can find online, but they can actually go through like the process one-on-one with me, and I can literally FaceTime you, and we can video chat in the group and go, okay, I got this false wall built here. Is this too much? Is this not enough? So it's kind of like that. It's a big community where we tag team everything. And what's crazy about it is, though, I don't even have the best projects in my Patreon. Dude, I would say some of my second and third year people that are breeders now are like knocking it out the park with like double and triple recessives and shit.
Yeah, that's what gets me. Like, people be on my show and you know, be like, man, I followed you for a couple of years, Adam, and I just got this. And I'm like, I ain't gonna have that for a couple of years, man, because either I can't afford it for a couple of years or it's gonna take me that long to make it, you know?
Dude, at least 5 of my patrons have like DG clowns. Like at least DG clowns and like Ultra Road clowns, and you know, and then there are people in my Patreon too, like Miguel and Will Morose, that like they're posting stuff and they're jumping in, and Will showing his projects, and we're kind of cross promoting each other's pages and stuff too. So and a lot of people just join my Patreon so they can talk to Miguel, and I'm fine with that.
Exactly. Okay. Yeah. If you can offer that value, why not, man? That's funny,
you
though.
know, so and then as far as videos goes, it'd be short clips like, okay, here's who's grabbing it right now. This female bred to this, and then they know the breeding, so that way they can take notes and they get first dibs on everything as well too.
Right,
so as soon as stuff hit the ground, the VIPs, powerhouses, and the supporters, they all get, you know, what I have available. But obviously the higher tier gets first dibs, and we kind of move down there. And then whenever I have a flash sale, I'll post it to the VIPs first. I'm like, hey, I'm trying to move this. If anybody wants it, you got an hour to hit me up before I offer it to the next tier. Yeah.
Right. I got you.
And then go that. And that's another reason why a very small percentage of my animals make them worth market too, because of that. Oh, excuse me. So, it's just so between, and then all my egg cuttings too go on my Patreon. I don't cut eggs publicly anymore.
Oh, okay. And
people just too much, bro. You should promote natural pipping. You should let the mommy circle around the eggs herself for 85 days because I use ambient temperature and I don't have the heat pedal, so it's going to take longer. It's just like, you know, everyone has something to say, but the people on Patreon and, you know, in the Instagram groups, they know what they're getting into.
Right.
So I can cut from there without having to sift through all the criticisms and stupid comments that I don't need to hear when people actually have questions, and we can get to those faster.
Yeah. I make the joke all the time. Like I can remember vividly 2006, a lady, she gets in my face. Says, well, I saw it on Food Network. Oh yeah. You did, huh?
Can you imagine being a doctor and then somebody walks in and they go, well, I was on WebMD and they said I have ulcerative colitis. They're like, you have acne.
Yeah.
You know?
Because you saw Rachel Ray make a French fry in 2006 doesn't mean you know anything. And it's not, I always have to say, it's not at the end of the day, the customer's experience is very important to me. Give me a chance to make it right. Don't tell me about my business, though. Either I make it right or I don't, and you come back again, or you don't. But I get that. But yeah, but that
brings me to my other aspect of stand-up comedy too. Like, you know who Bert Kreischer is?
Yeah. The machine.
He's the Florida guy too. So I listened to him say. He said someone asked him a long time ago. It's like, dude, I said it at the arena for multiple shows that you had, right? And you had the exact same energy as show 1 and show 3. Like why do you do that when you're obviously exhausted? But what drives you the way that you do? And he said, every time I do a show, there's one person who's never heard of me, who's interacting with me for the very first time ever. And I want to make sure they get the same energy as my lifelong fans too, you know, because we know we're all get beat and tired too, but just having that good first impression on people, first time customers who call you, you know, like if someone calls me for a $10 male normal, I want to treat them the same way as a person that I'm selling the $10,000 snake to. It's getting shipped the same way. So I might as well treat the customer the same way, you know, because I don't think of those lower end customers as just lower end customers. A lot of those people come back later on, and like if you treat them right, they're a customer for life. There's people I've spent $3,000-$4,000 on snakes that I would never ever deal with them again, and they would never get one iota of my money because they sent me an animal in used packaging. You can rip back the tape, and this one layer says it came from Justin, and then you know the other side. You know what I mean? I don't like that, man. So put care into your projects too. If I trust you with my money, package the snake right. You know what I mean? Answer the questions I have, and you know, send a snake along the way, and make it a good customer experience. Like you should always be happy about the money you spend.
Yeah, exactly. And because it's a what was I going to say? It's a courtesy. I mean, not only like it's a courtesy it's a courtesy to me that they would consider giving me their money. I take that as a courtesy that they're providing to me. To your point, I'll echo it, man. I had some possible het orange dreams that weren't great orange dreams, or weren't, you know, everything's got to be electric and high intensity and all that. And I just said on my channel, I said, guys, if basically if you cover shipping and you're watching my show, you can take these off my hands. Somebody said, I'll take all 3. I said, I didn't really mean it that way. I kind of wouldn't mind it going to a few people. But he said, well, you know what? How about I'll pay you retail for 1 if you'll throw the others in. I said, all right, that's cool. This year, bought the most expensive snake I've ever sold.
Nice.
Yeah, you know, so to your point, you know, treat people with dignity. They work hard for their money, whether it's the $10 or the $10,000. I guarantee you in their mind, they've worked hard for that money, you know.
And especially it's coming from somebody who plans like inside of 2 years, I'm going to be doing this full time. So I'm retiring from my government contract. I've been working in aviation for 22 years now. And cool. I'm done, bro. Like, I'm over it. You know, like I'm in my 40s now. I can't be climbing up on jets all day and jumping down like a damn superhero. My knees sound like old potato chip bags now when they move.
No,
you know,
I get it.
So if I'm going to get to a point where people are literally paying my bills now, you know, show a little grace, show a little class, and show some appreciation for the people who's putting food on your table, you know?
That's right. I agree completely. And I'm knocking on that door myself, not through ball pythons alone, but between music and ball pythons. 25 years in restaurants, man, this 4th of July was the second 4th of July in the past 27 years that I've had off, you know, like,
man.
I get to watch the fireworks with my boy, or at Christmas, I don't have to, you know, open gifts and then get to work, you know, and I'm not jumping off of jets, but the same kind of thing where I'm just like, man, there's something else. I'm going to figure it out and I'm going to get there. So what's your time balance like, man? The access you're talking about for your Patreon subscribers, man, that is a lot of time commitment. Obviously your customers, if you got 80 breeding females, and I mean, if 60 of those go, I mean, you got a lot of with 300-400 hatchlings a year kind of thing.
Dude, time management like it's at the point now where I have to do it, because my full-time job, I'm up 4:30 a.m. putting the dogs out, getting ready. I'm at work at 6. I get off at 4. And then right after that, Tuesdays and Thursdays, I get dressed, take an hour nap, start teaching kids martial arts and adults martial arts too.
Yep.
So, but there's always times when I can always answer messages and things like that. But my son, the past year has been a rock star, man, with me expanding the collection. So he does all like the spot cleaning and the water changes and things like that too. Yeah. And he works 6 days a week in the Snake Room. So he gets off Saturdays. He can kind of go be a 19-year-old.
Yeah.
And by going, and which his version of that is just playing Call of Duty all day or NBA.
Right.
But so that's his main job. So and with that, he gets 10% of the profits from whatever I sell.
Cool. Very cool.
So that helps me. If I I have no idea.
Yeah.
Right now.
I mean, I joke with people, but going from having your regular rhythm with animals, with the ball pythons, to hatchling season is like, oh, you got it figured out? Boom. No, you don't. Here you go. You're going to learn now. Like it is. They're not quite like infants, but they're like little babies, man. All they do is eat and poo constantly. And that's if you get them to eat right. If not, you're struggling to get them to eat and everything else, and then you got to sell them and move them because otherwise it's overhead.
So 2020, I had 8 clutches, right? And when I started my YouTube channel. Last season, I had 16 clutches total. I mean, like I was having clutches laid in December, like the whole year.
Oh,
cool. We're in July, and I'm on clutch 20 right now.
Okay.
And all the yellow tabs behind me, all those females are like gravid. So, and then I'm still pairing another 15, 20 more females too. So I'm probably going to see 40 to 50 females. So going from 16 last year to 50. So now I'm looking at myself like, I screwed up because females that started going this year, I thought they were 2020s, but they were 2019s.
Oh, nice.
So I'm like, man, why just clutch? Why are they all like 1,800 grams? They're like a year and a half. I'm like, no, they're like 2.5. I'm like, holy crap! I just been throwing rats at them and spotting them and just watching them grow up too. So it's just I had to jump on that. So like now I'm constantly changing this place around. I'm all PV. I'm like 90% PVC right now, and the racks behind me was just an experiment where there's actually 6 racks to hold side by side 1040s. But I've had them for over a year and a half now, and they're starting to warp because of the weight on them too. So it's just a thing. But they are doing well with the humidity. But I think I'm gonna go back to like ARS or Freedom Breeder, and kind of just revamp the entire room like that because I do need more space right now for my like hatchlings and holdbacks. I got 24, 48, 42. I have like 60 slots or whatever, and I need about 150.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to.
So I'm gonna do probably 2 to like 1065s and get the extra little thing on top of that, and then but that will make a lot more space than what I have. I can knock out half of these racks with just that space, and just kind of streamline things a little bit more. And I'm just trying to get this whole thing dialed in right before it's time to move inside of 2 years, so that's not another expense I have to deal with when I don't have a job.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly, right.
I'm scared. I'll be honest with you. I'm scared, man.
I tell you, people ask, okay, so hearing you talk about your day, you're one of the few people where I'm like, you could run with me and like probably dust me with how much you're working, because I'm the same way, man. I still work my consulting day job now. It's at home and it's less hours, but 7 a.m. I'm up doing social media. By 9 a.m. I'm in my office checking with my clients. Usually that's 4 or 5 hours. Then I'm doing the snakes by myself, rehearse in the afternoons, and then most weekend nights I'm playing gigs. Yeah, and then when I get the call to go out of town or do a small tour or something like that, it's funny, man. The out of town gigs pay a lot more than the in town ones, so I can't turn those down. It's great money, and people are like, why do you work like a maniac? Like, weren't you making that money just doing your job? And I was like, yeah, but I didn't want to do my job anymore. That like what motivates me to work my butt off that way is like that same like excited fear you're talking about. Like, can I totally like just step off of that ledge, and will there be the other ledge there that'll hold me, or is it going to crumble? And every little bit that I taste, every new clutch, every new venue that I get to play or new gig that I get, and I'm like that much closer. Or like Bert Kreischer was saying, like, okay, I don't care if there's 6 people in this new place and they're all looking at me like I'm crazy. I'm going to play my ass off for the 6 people because they're going to tell 10 people, and the next time there's going to be 70 of them, you know? And that's the stuff that drives me and why I work hard. And I don't want the next 25 years of my life. I want the next 25 4th of July's off, not back. You know what I mean?
And too, with so much other things that I do, so aside from the reptiles and the media outlets and things like that too, so I'm also the vice president of 559 Fights, so which is the amateur fight promotion here in the Central Valley. Oh, cool. So I put the fights together. I'm the matchmaker, and then then every event we have once a month, I'm there. I'm like in the back making sure the event goes the right way. Everybody stays how they're supposed to be. And I also do like freelance cut work. So sometimes a professional boxer or a professional fighter fly me out to their event just so I can wrap their hands and work on them because I have that relationship with people. Or I'm allowed to go outside my organization and work for like 2 weekends ago. I did an all-female promotion in San Diego, Valkyrie Fighting Championship, where it was their very first event, their flagship event. I wrapped all the women's hands for that event too, and I just met so many people there. Passed out my business card. I got some of those women fighting for my promotion. You know, so it was in San Diego. Like, how can you pass on San Diego, right, bro?
I mean, so here's the other cool thing that people don't get. Once you figure out what you really love and how to work in that, it suddenly isn't like working. You know, I could say, oh, it's a grind. I got to drive 8 hours and then I'm going to play for 3 hours and then this and that. Or I could say, dude, right over there in Destin, Florida, I get to share the stage with 6 of my legitimate heroes. Yep. And my name's going to be there. And like you're saying, like, I'm there at catering, passing out, here's my business card. And yeah, it's tiring, it's exhausting. And Monday morning, I got to put the bow tie or the suit jacket back on. I don't care, man. I'll rest, I guess, when I'm dead, man. I want to look back and go, I got to do this in my life.
Dude, I absolutely despise driving, but I do it a lot. So, like, tomorrow, I'm going to San Diego for Trap Fest to meet a bunch of people there. A bunch of different breeders going to be there. And I'm driving back here Friday. I'm going to pack up everything for the weekend show in Anaheim, taking my son to go see Thor: Love and Thunder, and then getting back on the road 3 more hours to Anaheim, where I'm sharing a big table with Josh from Ball Python Shed, Dave Levison, Troy from Best Dressed Balls, and Kendall Thornton. So how can you know, I'm sitting around hanging out with people passionate like I am, straight OGs in the game, and, you know, people who can show me a thing or two, because my weakest point of the breeding aspect is doing shows. This will be my very first show, so I'm bringing I'm bringing a terrible inventory. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's like all the dope shit is like still like the sunset stuff and the hurricane, lesser cloud, all that shit that's coming. But like all like the couple 2 gene heads and, you know, I'm bringing like almost like one visual recessive, like a female class. Yeah, it's so bad. But
it's such a different experience to have to do. I was lucky enough, Dale from Constricted Reptiles, he said, man, if you want to come work, you can come vend with me. And like, I didn't bring any of my own animals. I just went to go learn because I knew I hadn't done it. And like you're saying, I get to go hang out with, you know, I'm there with Steve Casino. I'm there with George MD, Jeremy Bod, the East Coast guys, you know, and they all welcome me with open arms. Hey, you know, what's his proper royals? What's the story with your chef coat that you wear? Oh, you know, just really reach out to me. And it was a real cool experience getting in the middle of that.
It's funny you say that because Steve and Jeremy, those are like 2 outside of breeding. They're like 2 of my favorite people in the world, bro. Yeah.
They're so good and they're good dudes. And I don't know, it's like I was saying with the band stuff. Okay. He's dependable. He's an honest guy. He's a good guy. He's willing to learn and keep his lane. I mean, Jeremy literally has opened his doors for me to, you know, come to his house, check his place out, hang out with him and his wife. I mean, it's incredible. It's incredible that way. So How much of that do you put into your brand and your marketing though? I mean, that's in you. That's not YouTube videos. That's all stuff that the person themselves and you yourself have done, but that other people can do just to get out there and not hide behind a screen or hide behind comments or whatever section kind of thing, you know?
Well, see, it also helps when you're an extrovert, you know.
Right.
So that helps a lot because you know, let's be honest, most of the reptile people don't look like me, you know. Right. Like when I first got into ball pythons, half of the ball python breeders looked like Kevin McCurley. They had long hair, they look, you know, long hair, sleeves. They look like you couldn't tell if they were either a biker, a ball breeder, or a meth head, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm not trying to say, you know what I mean?
No, I know. No, I tell people, I love this hobby, man. One of the things I love about this hobby, and I don't know, and because a lot of what I've seen of it is only through social media, but the interactions I've had like this, where I truly am getting to know people, it's like a punk rock concert, man. There's the white guys, the black guys, the guys that you think are skinheads, but turns out they're actually really cool. And the guy that you think is a meth head is actually the straight edge guy that's never touched a drug in his life. And there's a straight dude, and there's a gay girl, and you know, and it's like, yeah, but we're here for the animals and the camaraderie. Like, this is the fun stuff, you know? And I love it, man, because that's what. I wasn't the cool kid in school. I wasn't the star quarterback, you know, and that's what this hobby feels like to me too, man. I love it that way.
Yeah, and too, I do a little exercise I have before I lay down at the end of the day, because I always did it with martial arts too. Before the day's over, I say, okay, what new did I learn today? You know, so the day's over and I'm finally, you know, showered, settled down. The dog's out put outside for the last time and they're trying to kill the neighbor's dog. So anyway, I go, man, what did I learn new today? Like, dude, a couple of days ago, I made a trivia question. You know what the first 2 gene combo was, right? But if you had to guess, what would you think? Oh,
first 2 gene combo? I mean, pastel pinstripe or spider pinstripe, or I don't know.
Everybody thinks it was Bumblebee because that was 2001 when they were put together. But a lot of people don't realize that it was actually the Caramel Glow.
Oh, really?
Hypo Caramel Albino was that same season, but that came first.
Wow.
Yeah, so the first 2 gene combo was a double recessive.
That's crazy that was a double recessive. I did not know that at all.
Yeah, so I was on the Zoom call and Sean Bradley brought it up, and you know I was like, that's crazy. I didn't know that, so I made it like a big trivia thing in the Patreon group too, and you know I got to share out with everybody. So everybody was like, holy crap, and they're like, so just little stuff like that. Like I've been breeding for a decade now, and I learned this breeding season that all the hatchlings' first shed was clear, like the way hypos are.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, like you know how you tell like a hypo because like their shed is a patternless shed.
Yeah.
But all ball pythons' first shed is supposedly patternless.
Huh. Well,
but we never know because it's a fucking wet slob of fucking gooey shit and like no one. How many people? I've never taken apart a hatchling shed and was like, let me see what
right. No, yeah, because you're also so excited. You're like, oh, here's what the snake's going to look like.
Exactly, too. Yeah, so just things like that, man. There's always something you can learn, man. Like, there was no big experts. Like, I remember, like, I've been to Justin's twice this year and just watching him go, oh, I didn't even know that. I'm like, really, motherfucker? How did you know?
Yeah, you get to not know something? What are you talking about? So,
you know what I mean? So, and, you know, I hold him to a higher regard because obviously he's Justin, but he's my friend too. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
And even aspects like that, just having access to like the guy that to me is the king of the hill, that I can literally text him like now and go, hey, what do you think about this? He'd be like, terrible. Don't get into it. Like he'll give me like his opinion and stuff too. And he's super approachable, man. Everybody treats him like he's this android robot and shit, or he's like he's Mark Zuckerberg or Data from Star Trek, but he's really not.
I don't know. I always thought he was professional and looking out for his brand and had his act together. Like it's one of the things that attracted me to the hobby, to tell you the truth, because it wasn't this, derelict in the basement. This guy has a medical quality, medical grade facility. And it's the same thing I look for in restaurants. Like that's the other thing I love about the hobby. This restaurant reminds me of a kitchen, man. You got everybody from the professional to the guy on work release who, if he screws up, he's going back to prison tonight, So, and I love that because you can have all of that and have an excellent, safe, healthy facility, which is what you want to have in a restaurant. So when I saw that, particularly with Justin, but obviously like Billy and Brian and even Garrett DeMeyer, I remember watching, I'm like, this is the same principles that we're looking for in hospitality restaurant,
My favorite insult is when someone comments on Instagram, "Oh, you're just trying to be like Justin." You mean I'm doing something that works because I saw him do something that worked?
Right.
Okay, I'll take that.
I'll take that.
So back to the marketing aspect of it too. Justin, okay, so he came into this with a marketing degree.
I did not know that, but I would like
makes sense now though, right?
No, I'd like to spend a lot of time with him because he strikes me, and I believe it wholeheartedly, very methodical. There's nothing that just I'm sure there's things in life that just happen, but business-wise, there's nothing that just happens. It's all orchestrated.
So before he made a name for himself, he would go up to shows and pass out these cards with his info on it, like his business name, his logo, his contact information. But he made it a side where there was a sheet where you could walk around to shows and you can write in the animals that you were looking at to keep notes of it, because there were no smartphones back then and things like that too. So it was a way you can go through the show and have this, but on this card, when you looked at it, you always had to look at Justin Kubilka's information.
Endlessly,
and like I said, that's when he really wasn't established at all. He was nowhere near where he is now by a long shot. But people started to know who he was because they got these free cards with his stuff on it. Dude, that's freaking genius, dude. And people were looking at him like, who the fuck is this guy? Like,
right. Well, and I talked to a lot of marketing people. There's a quick shout out, a breeder called Leviathan Snakes over in South Carolina.
Good people.
Stephen and Courtney, the great folks. Steven's working on his doctorate degree, postgraduate with a focus on marketing. And for whatever reason, he and we get along great, but he always is like, yeah, man, we got to do a show together. You got to come on one of my channel. I mean, we'll go to Daytona together. And I'm like, but he always says, every time your brand or your name is anywhere, whether it's just comment on everything, because everybody's going to see the comments. And any chance you could get, like you say, to be on the lives, to interact with people. But the difference that I see, just me speaking out loud, the difference I see with you is this wonderful, genuine connection, man. You're not just going, how many times did I get my name out there? You're going, how can I connect with people? How can I really, I truly think, help, but even just have fun with people? How can I, meet and connect a little bit deeper with them? I think that's your secret sauce, man. It just as my opinion.
And that comes from gratitude. That's all it comes from.
Yeah.
Because I'm happy that a lot of people took a chance on me. Yeah. I had 300 followers in 2018 when I posted my the animal that's the inspiration for my logo, just a super black pastel het pie. That's it. Miguel messaged me, "Hey bro, you care if I repost this on my story?" I'm like, I didn't even know who Miguel was. I'm like, who's this Miguel dude? I look at him, I'm like, 50,000 followers. I'm like, what the fuck? I was like, sure. So that was my first 600 to 800 extra followers, like overnight, just because of that one post. Then I found out that he has a YouTube channel. He's getting into things. Then I also found out he lives an hour away from me. Too. So, and it was just something organic out of the blue. Like he didn't have to do that at all. He could fucking. I was the only person making a fucking super black pasta.
Oh, exactly. Right. No, that's cool, and it's so that like the pockets of communities or like the scene is so cool, and like Florida's got a really good scene. And for breeders, so I'm lucky to be here with that. But I see it in music too. Like it's a whole different feel. You're talking about the Comedy Store in LA. Man, when you're on the Sunset Strip, every one of those musicians are badass, the top notch, cream of the crop. Same thing when you walk down Broadway in Nashville kind of thing. And man, California's got a great breeder scene out on the West Coast as well, man. It's so like Nevada, Arizona, California area is just fantastic, just booming out there too.
Yeah, man. And then it's just, I just love to just sit back with some of these guys and like, as much as I like to talk on podcasts in live social situations, I just shut the fuck up and listen. You know?
Yeah, I do know. I do.
And just take it all in. And I'm just like, man, like, you know, and then you could just take tidbits from everybody. Like, some people are great at marketing. Some have this crazy, like, creative breeding strategy too. And then when you talk to some people, dude, there's a lot of people I talk to as far as breeders go. And I go, hey, man, like, what's your secret to success? And you know what a lot of people say was crazy? This is going to really F you up. Luck.
Yeah. I mean,
Yo.
Most of us don't want to admit that, but I truly think, and again, it comes from a point of gratitude, whether it's luck or blessings or whatever word we want to call it, I couldn't be where I'm at without a bunch of other good people in my life. And then you get the stroke of luck. I mean, I was lucky to be able to buy the last house that I bought, and then boom, that made it real easy to go, hey guys, I think I'm gonna go play music and breed ball pythons. Take care. I'm out of here. You know, was that total luck? I don't know. I figured out how to buy the house. On the other hand, it was luck that it was sitting there available when I came upon it.
Well, I mean, as far as like hitting odds and stuff too.
No, I know.
Like, I know people who've done like double hets. The double hets is what is like 1 in
16.
1 in 16, right?
Yeah.
I know people like just doing double het to pass double het and hitting 3 visual out of a 5-egg clutch. I'm like,
yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck, dude?
Suddenly they just made half a year's salary on double het to double het. You know?
Where this year, everything that I tried to prove out that I raised because like that was a possible het. So far, none of my possible hets have proved out this year.
See, I'm hoping this is last year was that way for me. Not that I raised up, but I had a 7-egg clutch with a female that was supposed to be het albino, het pied. I got no visuals, none. And I was like,
have you heard my dreamsicle story?
No.
Oh, I made some double het dreamsicles 5 years ago. The whole clutch males, right? so wait, whole clutch males. The lavender albino female died after that. So I didn't want to go out by anywhere. So I was like, you know what? I keep one of the males, sold the rest. And then I ended up getting a female that was het lavender, 50% het pied. Right? I'll put them together, see what happens. First season they breed, all the eggs fail in the incubator. Okay. The next season, all normals, not even a pied. I mean, not even a visual lavender or nothing, whatever, like all just normals.
Yeah.
So third season, same thing, not a visual anything. I go at this point now, a visual dreamsicle is about $2,000 now. Yeah. So to me, if I can buy it, there's no point in me trying to put all this space to get it. So I can afford a dreamsicle. Still don't have one. F this project, sold the pair. The guy breeds them that following season, 3 dreamsicles. So, do you know the Red Skull from the Marvel Universe where he goes, I guide others to a treasure I can't? That's me.
Yeah.
Get 3 of them.
Man, well, that girl actually today is exciting. That girl she gave me 10 eggs today. So, I'm hopeful this year that, you know, it's a het pied, het albino, which I sort of inherited that project. I'm not a huge albino guy, but if she's there, I'll find out about it, and I can always sell them and turn them into something else. So that'll be my plan. What should we finish with on the brand and the marketing and the exposure thing? Like what? Bless you, man.
I think one of these damn fruit flies shot up my nose.
Oh no, I was gonna say, man, it looks like I'm allergic to cats. I'm like, it looks like a cat just ran up and slapped you in the face, man.
Yeah, so so just with the whole branding and marketing thing too, I don't believe in the whole all press is good press thing. I don't believe that at all. You know, I just, because a lot of times there's certain breeders now I hear them and I'm like, ugh. So I don't believe all press is good press at all. So I just think that no matter where you are in your breeding stage too, keep learning, keep asking questions. And even when you feel like you're at the top, keep grinding like you're in second place.
That's right. Right. Always, yeah.
All the time, man, because like this can be taken away from you at any point, man. You never know. Like you could have a equipment malfunction. I know so many people who like burned like their snakes and racks and incubator fell. I mean, even like I think Steve one year, he had like multiple DC clown clutches in his incubator and gone. You know what I mean? Like how much farther he would be if all those clutches made it through.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So I mean, just to me, it's just being about being grateful and being humble and in this situation, because like this whole thing revolves around people and these animals, which are two things that you cannot control the behavior of at all. You cannot like you can control the temperature all you want. You can have all that the environment a certain way, but living, breathing things like human interaction and these animals, they're never going to do what you want them to do ever. And so when you buy that pair or buy that animal and you start doing your little Punnett squares or going on Morph Market to do your genetic calculator, everybody goes, man, this is the best I can get out of this. I can get a stranger GHI spot, lesser hurricane clown, like what I just did earlier today. But also realize you have that same exact odds of hitting a normal male.
That's right. Right. Exactly. Yeah. That is not figurative. That is mathematically exactly correct. The very best.
Yep.
It's the same odds as a normal. Yep.
So you can make a world first that you can charge whatever you want to if you decide to sell it because you're the only one that has it, or you got this $10 male.
Yep.
So you got to realize that's going to happen. You're going to miss. Like all we see with a lot of the big breeders is like the tip of the iceberg in their accomplishments, you know what I mean? So very few people talk about their failures, you know, like I think with the Sumo Pied project, Justin went through almost 60 eggs before he hit it. He thought it didn't exist, you know, he just thought he couldn't hit it.
The Sumo Pied?
Yeah.
I thought you said Super Pied. I got this. I don't know.
The Super Mahogany Pied. He went through like I think 8 clutches or some crazy amount of clutches before he hit it, and it was just the luck of the draw. And he said he was getting to the point where, well, maybe it's just some gene that like, that just fizzles out or doesn't go. You know what I mean? So, like a lot like those stories, I think part of this big pyramid scheme we have with breeding needs to be. It is, right?
No, I'm with you. I sometimes don't like to admit it, but it's exactly true.
Everybody has that face when I say that.
No, I've heard it and I've said it. It's true. But yeah, it is true.
Yeah, so everybody, you just need to realize that, yes, there is potential for everybody to do great. And there's enough money out there for everybody. And that's why in the past 2 or 3 seasons, once people started realizing that when this guy helps this guy, it helps him improve, and they can always refer to each other, have this big community of breeders around each other, the money gets circulated between us. Somehow, some way, me making a sale one year is going to directly affect you making a sale in some type of way. It just happens that way, man. So just having that, yes, some of us, you can see it as competition. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with competition at all. But you got to realize that we're not going to always have the same projects together. You know what I mean? So like if I know you're working something, I don't have it, and someone calls me about a sale, instead if they go, hey, I'm looking for this gene and that gene and this gene, I'm not going to go, well, I don't have it, but I can have this. And then they go, well, you know anybody who does have it? Okay, my man Adam does. Hit him up.
Yeah.
You know, like I would never dirty Mac another breeder.
No.
Unless it's a legit reason why I don't deal with them, like they sold sick animals and they had, that kind of thing too. But if I can get a sale in your pocket, by all means, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like
that's how I met Steve Casino. I called Jeremy because I wanted to be a customer of Jeremy. I said, hey, I'm looking for this. Now I'm missing a bead. He goes, I don't have it. you need to get in touch with Steve. And he didn't even leave it at that. He goes, here's Steve's cell number. If he says, what in the world are you doing calling me directly? Say Jeremy sent me. And if he's still mad, then I'll call him and make it better. I'm like, damn. All right. That's excellent, man. And I bought that pair of triple hets from Steve for it.
It was crazy, man. It wasn't always like this, bro.
Oh, I can imagine. Yeah.
It's so bad, man. Like, I don't like such and such because he lowered the price on his project by $200. It's a $6,000 project. So,
right. Yeah, chill out. Yeah. Well, and I still actually see that. I still see that from, I won't say who, but I've heard those sorts of comments from pretty big breeders where I'm like, if you're threatened by what my 8 clutches are going to do to your market, you're screwed up, man. I don't want to hear that. That's not cool, you know.
Well, it's just like with the one of the biggest issues was with the Hurricane project. A lot of people, you know, were moving the price in certain ways too. And now where like smaller breeders have it, like especially Hurricane Clown stuff. Every time somebody posts a Hurricane Clown on Morph Market to what someone feel was below market value, people hit me up taking a screenshot. Hey, blah blah blah, sold this. Excuse me, has it up there for way cheaper than didn't you tell me that you usually sell yours for such and such? I'm like, okay, what's the point?
Yeah.
Well, he screwed up the market. I was like, well, if you think he screwed up the market, then you buy it from him then. And then
yeah, you sell it for what you would get for it. Yeah.
Yeah. So like a lot of these projects, I don't change my prices over. Like at all. Like if I think it's a certain thing, whatever, my goal is to get to a situation where I use Morph Market as a guide or to look at trend stuff too, but I can legitimately set my own projects for some of these higher end things, you know what I mean? Because I know, especially looking at the scarcity of it, you know, too. A lot of people don't consider that with their pricing.
Yeah.
Right. So
you get it here and now. What's the value of it? You could say it's
right. So female clowns. So there's probably 3,000 female clowns in Morph Market, right?
Yep.
If after next week on Morph Market, there's 25 female single gene clowns on there, and that's it. The whole Morph Market is just 25 single gene baby clown females. You're going to sell, now you're going to put your price up for $450, $500 now? No. If it's 25 in there, I'm putting them up for like $1,000.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Because if you want the project, if you have a specific project in mind that you're working on, the price should not be the thing to deter you from it. You know? So be reasonable. I understand that the comment section who watches the video later. I understand that, but okay. The past 2 seasons, I was looking for a visual asphalt clown male, right? My first focus at the show, okay, hey, do you have an asphalt clown? No, yeah. So every show I go to will go online because no one posts them on Morph Market. So this past Tinley, I go to Levant's table and into the box, boom, 250 gram asphalt clown male. I looked at it. I saw asphalt clown. I said, Levant's, back that bad boy up. That's mine. I want it. Didn't even look at the price. Saw the price. It was like, damn, that's kind of high.
Right.
But so it was $3,000. But honestly, if it was $4,500, $5,000, I'm not just saying this because it sounds cool to say. If it was $5,000, I'd have bought the animal for $5,000.
Yeah.
Because that's the key ingredient I'm looking for into my multi-gene clown projects. I'm trying to replace yellow belly with asphalt because when you start mixing these genes together and you have all these possible asphalt, possible yellow belly stuff, I'd much rather make a super asphalt hurricane stranger GHI clown than an ivory clown combo that I can't sell because I don't know what's all in there.
You're giving away genes. That's right.
Exactly. So, and that's why I wanted that too. So to me, going with that route to me was an invaluable asset to my collection. And that guy's gonna be busy this fall, man. So it was just so hard keeping a straight face at his table because I was just like,
yeah,
sure, I'll take it. I have the worst haggling ability at any trade show ever.
You know what? And I don't even like haggling, man. Like I do, like if I think it's worth less, or I think that like seriously I only have X amount of dollars, then and I think it's a fair number of dollars that I have, I will. But generally, man, if I think something's worth it, I'm gonna pay the people, especially if I know who they are and I know what they're about, man. Strangers, maybe it's a little bit different, but if I know who the people are, I'm paying them their money. I mean, like you say, it's the time and the effort that's gone into it, what they're building. And in the long run, as a breeder, $100 and $200 or whatever difference that I would have haggled over is going to come back to me. And what's funny is on something else that I get a great deal on that I think I'm going to get rich on, that'll be the one that misses. I mean, the Mother Nature evens this stuff out. I mean, you're gonna pay a little more sometimes, and you're gonna get a little more sometimes.
Yeah, and then and a lot of people too appreciate when you somehow find a way to save a little bit of money and you pass the savings on to them.
That's right.
So I want to give a big shout out to Ship Your Reptiles, man. They sent me an email they was just like, hey, we found out that you're a military veteran. So we applied a permanent discount to your account.
I was
like,
yeah.
So it's like, it's already applied. So as soon as you log in, you can just do that, whatever, too. So now, like most of my, just with my login, I save an extra like $35, $40 on shipping on stuff too. And I pass it on to my customers too. And I kind of sometimes meet them halfway. It's crazy to me that in this industry that you could pay $800 for something, but an extra $75 would deter you from buying it for sure.
It's crazy, isn't it? Or the $15 that you're going to meet them in the middle on.
Something like that too. It's just so wild to me. But for some reason, like if you put 900 plus shipping, they'll be like, But if you put $975 ship, they're like,
look at this guy. Look at what he's doing for us. That's right.
So Ship Your Reptiles hooked me up with that. And like I said, I pass the savings on to people. So like when people ask me about shipping, I'll log in and say, hey, this is what it is with the short. And I'll show them the screenshot so they know, what I mean? Like how it works. So it's just, I'm just loving it, man. Showing up to these things, man. Just like this, being involved in the whole US ARC thing last year. Did you see the charity match we did last year? Did you see that?
I did. Actually, I did. Yeah. I think it's awesome, man.
So,
Jeremy and I
raised a lot, dude. We raised so much money for that. It's so crazy.
Man.
And then I wanted to outdo Jeremy with his like 27 grand. I don't think we did that well, but Jeremy kicks butt, man. So it's gonna be hard to beat the stuff that he's doing, So shout out to Jeremy Bond, man.
He's so good, man.
But so and that kind of got my face out there with US ARC, and people know that I'm a big proponent of saving these animals because, dude, when I found out that at Ship Your Reptiles they said 90% of people unchecked the $1 thing. Did you know that?
No, I didn't even know you could. First, but secondly,
you could. So it's automatically boxed, right? They said 90% of the people unboxed that $1 for US ARC.
$1, man.
Like, hey, real quick, if you do that, you scumbag.
There you go. Yeah.
So it's $1, dude. Like, so just education with that and just making sure you keep your rights throughout your state, man, is important. So it was fun to do, man. So they fight for us all the time. So I was happy to fight for them. And
that's cool, man.
We got some other cool stuff coming down the pipe too that I'm trying to do. So people trying to hook up me doing a match with the real Tarzan. So, like, I was on some podcast and somebody was like, how do you think you do against him? I was like, dude, I rip his freaking head off. What do you So, I mean, all in good fun, though. I got nothing against him. He's actually dope. I'm a big fan of his, too. So, but
that's cool. Are you going to be at Daytona this year?
Oh, yeah. This will be my first time. I haven't been to Daytona since 2009.
Oh,
so this will be my first time. So I'm looking forward to it. Already got the room taken care of and stuff too. And because I'm gonna be out on the beach all the time, I've been in the gym lifting and stuff now. So
okay, there you go. I have not, but I've been doing my push-ups. But that's it. I'm all right.
So
on that.
It's gonna be way too many cameras around me fucking with my belly and my man boobs and stuff. So I gotta like that. So we're about 6 weeks out now, so I got aggressive 35, 40 pound weight loss to do.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Oh, you're gonna do the hot baths and the suits.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna have the weight cut face. They were like,
there it is. Okay. No, I'll be there, man. We gotta have a beverage and a hangout, man. That'll be a great time.
Yeah, man. Like I said, I'm just enjoying this ride, man. This summer is gonna be crazy. I got a crazy weekend ahead of me. I cannot wait. That's it, man. I appreciate you having me on, man. It's about freaking time, you know.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. I had a blast, man. I figured we'd do, 30, 40 minutes. We're coming up on 90. I really, really appreciate it.
Sorry about that. I
know. I mean it in a good way, man. I mean, this is fantastic. And I'm so happy to hear you be out at Daytona. It'd be good to meet in person and to hang out. And I'm really glad I got to meet you, man. Like I say, I always look at you and follow you on YouTube and Instagram. But it's so much better when you get to spend some time with a person and get to know them and just the little things that we get to learn about each other. So
yeah, I told a lot of people I was going to be on your show, and everybody was like, "Fuck yeah!" Like, they were like, "Oh, cool." I was like, when this airs, the view count better be freaking better show. And then for my ego, I'm gonna go back and look at your last couple of videos and see how much we gotta use. We gotta outdo the views on that.
Right, we gotta blow this one up, man. I appreciate you so much, man. So, that means a lot to me. I'm
gonna post the crap out of it, man. And and then everybody, people always want to get a hold of me. It's high desert pythons everywhere. If you can literally, like, my phone number is Googleable. It's on Morph Market. I answer text messages and stuff too from names I have no idea who you are, but as long as you're cool people, I'm all about talking, man. So I mean, if you want to sit and chat on my headset while I'm cleaning snake shit, sure, I'll talk your head off, bro.
There you go. I'll have your link tree in the description down below, and cool. I do want everybody to check it out if they haven't. They need to. And for whatever it's worth, it's all really, really well done. I mean, that was our whole topic today was marketing, but you could see all the branches of, no pun intended about the link tree, but, all the different directions that you're going. I wish you the best, man. You got to make that 2-year deadline. I got to hold you to it, man. I want us popping a beverage in the summer of 2024 when you're wrapping up the career.
And one more thing, dude, if you see me at a show, come say freaking hi. I only go to shows to hang out with you fuckers. Every time I get a message, I saw you at the show, but you look really, really focused. No, that's just my neutral fucking face. That's my resting beast face. I'm not angry. I'm not upset or nothing.
Yeah.
Sometimes you might see me. I might be daydreaming or something like that, or I saw some animal that has got me perplexed right now. So come say hi. If I'm talking to somebody else, I mean, yeah, come on my line of sight, and then we'll get to you. I love taking pictures with people, man. You know what I mean? I will wear your merch. I will rock your shirt and post it in the videos too, man. All of that stuff, man. So I hate when I go to a show and the next day I get a whole bunch of, I saw you, but I just didn't really approach you. Like, no, man, fucking, like, I'm only here to come hang out with people. So that's it. So that's over. It's out of my system. I wanted to say.
All right, man. I'll be at the hotel as well. I'll be at the show both days, and I'll definitely be at the auction. Like I say, Jeremy and I are cooking up something for the auction this year, so I'm excited.
Yeah, man. Hey, I really appreciate you having me, man. Thanks for your time, and dude, you are kicking ass with this whole thing, man. So like, you're a great asset to the community, man. Like you just rain positivity all the time, and you bring informative people on it too. I'm a huge fan, man. I'm just happy to be part of your platform.
Thank you. I'm very thankful. I appreciate it, Antoine, and keep at it. You got my full support, and I'll see you in August, man. Let's do this again.
All right, everybody. Peace.
Thanks, brother. Man, what a great time. Thank you to Antoine. Thank you to High Desert Pythons. If you guys don't believe that there's good folks out there in this community and that great things are happening in this community, you got to watch that episode again. Am I right? Antoine, huge thanks. I cannot wait to hang out with you in person down in Daytona. I can't wait to hang out with you again the next time that we can get together on this show. In the meantime, keep it right here on the Proper Royals channels. I'll tell you everything that we got going on here, and I cannot wait until I get to see you in the next video. Until then, see ya.